everyone always seems to be in a rush when it comes to art, or they're always trying to learn how to draw art fast. And I think it's a pretty common trap to fall into, because I used to have that problem as well, right? It felt like I was spending so long on practicing. I was spending so long on every drawing. Everyone who's learning how to draw, everyone's in such a rush. Everyone wants to learn how to draw fast, go fast. The most popular videos on YouTube are like how to get good at drawing in just a month of practice. I learned how to draw hands in just 1 hour kind of thing, right? There are so many boot camps and like schedules and classes. Just follow this 30-day boot camp and I guarantee you'll be good at drawing. But I don't really think there are guarantees like that. The only way to follow a 30-day boot camp and actually get good is that after you follow that 30-day boot camp, when you're done with it, then you restart it. You do another 30-day boot camp. Then you finish that. Then you do another 30-day boot camp. And you just keep doing them. And after like your 130-day boot camp, maybe you'll feel like you've improved. Yeah, I don't really believe in the 30-day boot camp thing for art, or 7-day, or 3 month, however long they are, right? I think it takes longer than that, generally speaking. The point is that there's not a short way. There's no shortcut to being an artist. Everyone wants to find that shortcut, but I don't think it exists. What makes people feel like they have to rush, okay? And I think another reason that besides, you know, they want to get good fast and they don't like being bad, but I think there's another reason, which is when you go on social media and you see amazing artists, they give a little bit of an impression that it was kind of effortless. And the problem with seeing only people's finished art is that you can't actually see how much effort went into it. Right? You don't know how much time they spent practicing. You don't know how much time that individual piece took. That piece of art you're looking at that looks amazing, they might have spent 50 hours on it. And then you're like drawing by yourself and you're like, oh no, I'm so slow, I'm so slow. Dude, art takes time to make. And the time, that effort and that time is not immediately obvious on social media. And while some artists show time lapses, and maybe even some of the time lapses show their mistakes, right? But they pass by so quickly that it still feels effortless. I think I spoke to someone while they had just started drawing, but this entire time, they thought that time lapses were the actual speed that artists drew in. Like, that's how artists draw. They just draw really fast. So they're like, oh, why am I so slow? But it doesn't really work that way, right? They have this illusion, they have this feeling that everyone around them draws so fast except for them and they are uniquely slow, okay? So don't get fooled by that. For me, a lot of not wanting to take a long time is that I wanted the results now. I just didn't want to do all of that hard work in between. I know I didn't want to. You can like look for the optimal way to learn art. You can acknowledge it'll take a lot of time. And even if you do optimal research, okay, first I do like a box studying intensive course to learn perspective and construction, then I draw cylinders, and then I break down the human body, I do construction, and then I do gesture. Even if you have all of that laid out, it is still gonna take time because the most important thing is actually mileage, right? Like I said, the most important thing when it comes to art is to actually do the work. You can have the most optimal syllabus laid out for you, but if you don't actually do the work and work hard, it's gonna come to nothing, okay? Someone who's doing more work than you and following an arguably suboptimal syllabus will improve faster than someone who spends all their time thinking and worrying about art and not actually doing anything, okay? Let's be honest here. It's a lot more fun to be good at things than it is to be bad at things, right? I do talk a lot about figuring out ways to enjoy the process and like enjoying the journey, and I still believe in that. But it is true that it's hell of a lot more fun to draw something you like than you don't like, right? A lot of people don't realize how much information and knowledge and understanding you actually have to absorb, like how much practice it actually requires, right? Because I don't really see people being impatient that school takes a long time, right? Like, oh wow, gotta spend 6 years going through primary school and then I gotta go through secondary school and then university, and by the time I graduate I'm like, what, over 20? I don't see anyone complaining about that because we know that takes time, right? You choose to go into a master's degree, all right? And that takes a couple years and no one's like, oh no, I wish I could do my master's in one day instead. No one does that. Art feels a lot like magic if you don't understand, right? If you see someone drawing like, I don't know, like, watch me draw this face, all right? just straight in. I guess it's not gonna be a good face, 'cause I don't usually draw like this, right? How do I know where to put the lines? Any artist would be able to tell you. I learned to draw these lines, I learned to put these specific eyes here, like at this location. I learned how to draw the ears because I've drawn hundreds of eyes, hundreds of ears. I've studied the construction of the head. I've done all of these things. And having repeated and put all this knowledge in my head and repeated this exercise this many times, this gives me the ability to just draw like that. Like, even though it's just a line, and everyone thinks, oh well, I know how to draw lines. I just need to figure out how to put the lines in the right place and it's good, right? But it's not that simple. You can copy an artist drawing the line, but if you don't know what's going on in their head, what they learned, what they did to understand where to put these lines, then you're not going to be able to draw like them. Okay, so this is also not related to learning art fast, but it's kind of related to speed in general. But like, I feel like people aren't just obsessed with learning art fast, they're also obsessed with drawing fast. One of the most common things people tell me is like, what do you want to learn in art? Is like, oh, I want to learn how to draw fast. So here's the thing, we watch masters like Kim Jong-gi at work and we're like, oh, that looks so efficient. I don't need to draw with guidelines or anything. If I just knew where to put those lines, then I'd be so fast. But like, if you watch him perform this, and yes, this is a performance, right? I think what a lot of people don't understand or don't realize is that drawing straight in is rarely what people do. It's more of a performance art at this point. And it's not easy because you have to study so much more and memorize so much more to be able to draw everything without guidelines and reference, of course. So yeah, people look at Kim Jong-gi and they're like, yeah, I wish I could draw like this without guidelines so quickly. It'd be so efficient. I want to draw fast like this. But the issue is, before you could draw something fast, you have to learn how to draw it slow. If you can't draw it slow, then you can't draw it fast. I think it's really just that simple. Right? So I think that people who are despairing because they're so slow, like I have to do like 10,000 million guidelines, or maybe you have to correct and change things over and over and over and over again until they look right. All of that stuff is like, I draw a face and I have to like erase 10 million times and do 10,000 times before it looks good. That's okay. Because I think while you're drawing it slowly and laboriously, you're building your own knowledge that way. You have to learn how to do it slowly before you can learn how to do it quickly, right? That's all I'm really trying to say is, drawing is fun. Take your time with it, okay? If it feels really slow and laborious to you, it is, maybe, but that's how you learn. I'm speaking from experience here, right? Because I had my own personal Kim Jong-gi phase where I was like, hey, what if I just draw without sketching and guidelines? I'd be so fast. And I spent a solid 6 months drawing art I wasn't happy with because I wasn't good enough to draw without guidelines. I needed guidelines. I needed the sketch. When I went back to drawing how I felt comfortable, I was so much happier with my work. Yeah, speed will come with practice. Don't force it. Exactly. You need to learn to walk before you can run. Cut, 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 cut. Boo! I don't want to do it anymore. Like, hi YouTube! Like, comment, subscribe! Ah!